detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again. Jared and I have decided to... How do we put it? We've decided that every 4 to 6 weeks we'll slide in with a bit of our own sort of... it's a slasher movie sort of sojourn.
Yeah.
This is our bag, the slasher movie, and I don't think Gibbo takes too kindly to this kind of shit.
No.
And Maddie's too... Maddie's about the pathos and stuff. There is none of that in these type of movies.
Not much of that here.
So
we're going to give them a break. So we don't burn them out.
Cut those guys a break and indulge ourselves every 4 or 5 weeks to do a slasher film. Tonight.
I kind of wish we'd let ourselves have a break from this one.
Yeah, tonight we've decided to go back to Australia. They didn't make a lot of slasher films in Australia. We obviously covered Houseboat Horror, which is what could only be described as a classic.
Still waiting for that Blu-ray release.
Yeah, I think you got no chance there. But we've decided to cover 2000's Cut. Now, what's Cut, you say? Well, wait till you find out. It's another slasher made in Australia. But before we get to that, Jared, let's do a quick little bit up or down. Mm-hmm. The trailer for the new Blumhouse horror thriller called Fantasy Island.
Yep.
I believe it has dropped an American trailer and an international trailer. It's written and directed by Jeff Wadlow, who directed Kick-Ass 2 and Truth or Dare.
Tick.
And no, Cross on Truth or Dare. It stars Michael Pena, and it's got the girl from Truth or Dare, Lucy Hale. The trailer, it was okay. Typical Blumhouse type of film. It's got that kind of like obviously hook thing about how they fly to this island, they get their fantasies sort of play out for them, but it obviously becomes a little bit more real.
Yeah, well, twist on the TV show.
I didn't realise that initially. When I first saw the trailer, I wasn't 100% sure that it had anything to do with the TV show.
Yeah.
But I've since learned that, yes, it is loosely based on that. Yeah, look, it looked okay.
And I'm okay with that. Look, we're not going to get a Fantasy Island movie.
No.
Just, in the style of the TV show. So I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the idea of it.
How did it look?
The trailer, I didn't love the trailer.
No.
Again, it's the old Blumhouse thing of where I looked at it and I thought, well, the idea's all right. Could prove to make some kind of interesting scenes in there, some interesting horror scenes in there, but what we saw in the trailer didn't really blow me away.
It was a little bit better than Truth or Dare, but the same thing with the Truth or Dare trailer.
Better.
I was kind of like...
A lot better. The Truth or Dare trailer was...
I remember looking at that trailer and thinking, God. And then I looked at this one and I was kind of pretty unmoved by the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll have to say it's probably an up, just because Blumhouse have done a lot. Made a lot of films.
Yeah, they've probably earned the right to
well,
put out an average trailer and have us still go along and check the thing out. So.
And look, I saw Truth or Dare.
I saw Truth or Dare as well.
So I was, that's one strike for it.
I dare you to watch it again.
No, thanks. I might do it for this podcast. So yeah, bring it up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I like the idea. I get the sense that, this whole fantasy thing, I guess, I don't know, you compare it to something like Elm Street, where it's very open because you're taking somebody's idea of their perfect, their fantasy.
Yeah.
But then you're putting a twist on it, so it's got a scope for a lot of ways that you can take it. So.
It has a lot more going for it than a bog standard sort of by the numbers sort of thing. It's got a little bit of room to work in. So, yeah, look, it's an up for me. No, it's only just up, though.
Yeah. Look, if it wasn't Blumhouse, I'd probably be...
It's a down.
Just nudging towards the down, but Blumhouse, it's probably just teetering towards the up, just a little bit.
All right. Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2000's Cut.
began as a class project
We have to do a graduation film, right? What better project than to finish that film?
to resurrect an old film from oblivion.
That movie was a nightmare.
So what you're saying is there's some sort of a curse on this film?
Now, they've made an unexpected discovery of a mysterious legend.
Creepier than Friday the 13th. More blood and guts than Texas Chainsaw.
More sex than deep throat. For you and it.
That should never
Who wants to make a mainstream slasher movie?
see the light of day.
Don't go playing with nightmares.
And action.
I've never said this before, but I've always found you very attractive.
Cut from 2000. Directed by Kimball Rendell, who gave us Bait. Do you remember that? The shark film in the flooded
Yes,
supermarket?
I do remember it. I can't recall whether I've actually seen it or not.
I remember it.
I don't think I did.
All right. But that's me. Produced by Jennifer Clough,
Yeah, that means nothing.
Bill Bennett, and Martin Favanel. Fuck off. Come on, mate. Take this seriously.
Continue.
Fuck yeah. A story by Mark Lamprell, who wrote Babe Pig in the... Or I believe he wrote Babe Pig in the City. And the screenplay was by Dave Warner.
Who just knocked up 334 runs for 335 runs for Australia. Different Dave Warner.
He
Sorry.
did Garage Days and Rescue Special Ops. It stars Molly Ringwald as Vanessa Turnbull, Kylie Minogue as Hilary Jacobs, Jessica Napier as Raffi Carruthers, and Stephen Curry as Rick Stevens. The budget, I could not find any information about how much it cost. But the box office was a paltry 501,000 in Australia. And the movie opened in France and Hong Kong at number 2 at the box office.
Wow.
So maybe it made some money internationally. Again, I couldn't
Possible.
find anything on it.
No, it's hard to find very much at all.
Yeah. All right. What are your thoughts, mate? Come on.
I haven't even thought about a score, to be honest. Look, she was a...
Sounds like a winner.
Yeah, it was a challenge to get through.
Yeah.
Even at an 82-minute
82
run
minutes
time. Or
pre-credits.
Yeah. The idea's not so bad. I don't mind the idea as just as a cheesy little slasher. They try to have a bit of fun with the tropes, obviously post-Scream. You can see the influences of Scream there, but it's nowhere near in that ballpark. Like, they open with it and then seem to have a little bit to say about, or try to have a little bit to say about movies, but it's very thin. Movies and horror movies and how they affect people, it's very thin in that regard. The story's very thin. Like, the movie's so short, you don't even seem to get a lot of kills. I know there was a solid handful there, but even that seemed a little bit thin on the ground. I guess because it's so short, such a short runtime, that none of that stuff was developed. None of the kills are all that memorable. There's no memorable lines. It's just forgettable. It's just really forgettable. Jeez, I don't know. 1.5?
Yeah, 1.5. Yeah, look, I'll join you on 1.5. Okay premise, and if it had played straight, slasher straight, so a mystery, who's doing it, who's in the Scarman costume, and they've all got, secrets. I mean, the movie had set up for some of that. Like it actually had characters who had things in their background that could have worked in its favour.
Well, that was, I mean, when it opened up, I was just thinking it had, the setup is fine for just your run-of-the-mill slasher. So by going in this other direction, it just fumbled all of it. Like, the way that it ends up is just, it's laughable, really.
Yeah, and it would have done better playing simple and straight B-grade slasher film.
I think it would have been better for sure playing simple and straight. Like, you can still have fun with the tropes while making a... I mean, that's what Scream did. Scream had the mystery. Scream did that, but it still made fun of all the tropes and that sort of thing. This one just went a step too far in trying to... Obviously, it was trying to say something about, you know...
Horror
the
films.
horror films, leaving the stuff that's on the screen, that there's a distinction between that and real life and whatever. But the way that they did it was just...
horrendous.
Nah, I couldn't cop it.
Yeah, look, I'm 1.5 too. It didn't work. Okay, likes. I think, like you, the premise kind of works. Finding this old horror film that wasn't fully completed.
Yeah.
It's kind of got this 20 years of sort of like mystery about it.
Yeah.
And they decide, and these couple of incidents where someone's tried to watch it and they've died, and it's got this kind of, it's got this whole sort of mythology about it. And then you want to come in, you want to remake, like, forgive me, but I think that they only really wanted to shoot a handful of scenes to finish it. Is that right?
Something like that.
Because it didn't really specify.
No. Oh, well, it might have, but I was probably too busy rolling my eyes at something that was going on with...
But basically the idea is solid. A group of film students pick up this film and try and complete it. And then there's suddenly this killer's lurking again.
Yep.
Decent bones to make a slasher.
And they're bringing back, players from the original film. You say something going on there, like, that would have probably worked. It's just, if you just tried to make a good little slasher.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe left the...
And see, the mystery, as I said before, the mystery element would have worked better because you had some of those players from the old film coming back.
Yeah.
So you had Molly Ringwald, you had the professor bloke who I think was...
Mr. Lossman or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Lossman or whatever. I think he was like he was her lackey or something.
Yeah, he was the one that walked in during the initial killings and...
Yeah. And so that would have worked.
I didn't get this. I think he said it, but I didn't listen. He said something about what he was in the original film, but he was floating around there somewhere in a bad wig.
Yeah. Now, Scarman's mask actually wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it looks all right.
Kind of looks a mix between Halloween and...
It actually looks like Jack Skellington a little bit. It's got that kind of stitched face.
Yeah. But it actually worked in terms of his look.
I thought his look was fine. The Michael Myers coveralls were pretty cliche, sort of straight down the line, but the mask itself I thought was okay.
Dennis Denudo. For our international listeners, he was... part of another Australian film called The Castle. Classic. And it's the actor who played this character called Dennis Denudo. But look, I got to laugh to see him in there.
I laughed.
Quite frankly, his performance is fucking shocking.
His reaction to finding a dead body is fucking fantastic. But then
when they actually gets this dopey look on his face.
Yeah, he just turns around and wanders off. He looked very much like Dennis Denudo in the, talking to the High Court in the vibe, in the castle. When he gets his little rant,
that was creepy.
Yeah, it was.
Not in a good way for the film. But just the whole thing was creepy.
No,
where he's talking about how he's seen 1,000 murders and all this sort of stuff, and you get. And I know what they were trying to do. The whole desensitise to actual real violence, because of screen violence. But it was just this ridiculous rant that wasn't even compelling or anything. It was just him rambling on. He was subsequently gutted, which was probably the best thing for him.
Correct.
Now, you were a big fan of the cinematographer in the film.
I was a fan of his name. Damien Ogle. That's what he seemed to be doing, a lot of ogling.
And he pops up again later in my dislikes for his ogling form that seems to work out for him.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know why. I had a bit of a giggle at Damien Ogle.
You also had a giggle at a comment by the guy who owns the house.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was.
They basically turned up to the old house where they filmed the previous parts of the film. And they go in to speak to the guy, and he's wandering around,
telling him to look after it.
And then one girl says to him, don't worry, I'll look after it as if it was my own. And his response is, it's no confidence for no comfort to me. You look like you live in a dump.
yeah. Good delivery from the old bloke too.
He really nails it too. 'Cause
He's blowing up. He's got a bit. Yeah, that got a bit of a chuckle out of him.
Got a chuckle
for sure. I actually also did. I did actually have a little bit of a laugh when Stephen Curry's breaking down who's interested in who. And who's, that was kind of funny. Yeah. That was kind of funny.
Again, there were little shreds of decent material.
Yeah,
they had little pieces that were okay.
Yep,
and that was one of them. It was a fairly relaxed conversation that kind of worked.
Yeah.
There's a nifty beheading in the kitchen. Gets his head cut off.
A couple of the kills I didn't mind so much from Scarman.
And in fact, his eyes roll back in his head when it's lying on the ground.
Yeah,
which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I thought not all of them. There was a few notable exceptions, but for the most part, I thought they got a couple of nifty kills in there.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Scarman in general in the movie. I wasn't a huge fan of how he was going, but a couple of the kills were okay.
He actually looks okay once he has his mask off too. The special effects are okay.
Yeah, the special effects
are looks reasonable to have him burned and shit like he was.
Yeah. And
it actually looks, when he first is unmasked, it
separate
looks
from why, yes.
Yes. Why is problematic.
Yes.
But look, I didn't really have anything else, Jared.
I did.
You did?
Molly Ringwald.
Ringwald?
I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah.
She was playing it up. She was supposed to be, the Hollywood type that was pissing and moaning all the time. I thought she had a bit of fun with that.
Yeah. Look, she was hard. She must have been hard up for money.
Yeah. Yeah, was she? I don't know. Was she getting much out of this?
I don't know. But the fact is...
I hope she didn't take it back in.
To me, that there was no reason... this is the kind of thing where you threw out a little bit of a hook, hoping to get some fish.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting it to take the bait, though. She took the bait. I don't really know why. What in this script has you take the bait on it? Other than the fact that I need a paycheck.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was fine. Right.
You might be onto something.
She was fine in the role, though. At the very least, she turned up and she at least delivered.
Yeah, she was good.
She was by far the best actress in the film.
Look, I'm not going to say her performance was alike, but Kylie Minogue. Anytime you get Kylie Minogue, Australia's sweetheart, you've got to we've got to give it a bit of love there. Surely.
Yeah, I've got a dislike to that.
She's not much of an actor, but just there.
Yeah. Look.
If you grew up on Neighbours, mate, you can't help but give it a like.
Yeah, true.
I also did, going back to Molly Ringwald for a second, I did enjoy her ripping into Scarman in the initial, after Kylie Minogue's torn strips off him. Molly Ringwald gives him another serve.
About man, you touch my tits again, I'll kick your fucking balls up between your ears or something like that. Wanders off after that.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nah.
Nothing else.
Thin on the ground.
All right, dislikes.
This could take a while.
Scarman himself. The whole concept of what he was, because, spoiler alert, he's not human.
No.
He's superhuman. It's like he's come out of...
The energy from the film. The energy that was put into making the movie created him.
Oh, man. It's not a good start when he gets stabbed in the throat. When they haven't given you any indication that he's superhuman or supernatural. Yeah. And then when Molly Ringwald stabs him at the start after he's killed Kylie Minogue, he gets all this electricity.
It's a buzz of electricity.
It goes through his head and his neck.
Must have a joy buzzer hanging around his throat or something.
What is that?
Yeah.
So if the first time you're watching this, you don't know what's going on, but when they finally treat you to the actual reasoning... It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ludicrous.
Yep.
And this is what I said to you when we were watching it. This was one of the downsides to Scream. You could no longer dish up the Spuds and Burger slasher and expect people to watch it. You had to twist it in some way or give it something.
Yeah, right? But you know what? I recall watching this, and just that ending was just like, holy shit. And so I couldn't recommend it to anyone. But if it was a straight down the line slasher,
I would have recommended
said, Yeah, it's got something to offer.
Well, these fuckwits cocked up because they thought, we'll put a twist on it, we'll make him supernatural. Look at the bloody cash registers ring.
Yeah.
And they did not ring at all.
They did not ring.
So
they
why not just...
They rung in a similar fashion to I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, side by side with some other supernatural, or seemingly so, killer. I still don't know. We better go and check out that combine harvester and scrape a bit of the material off and see if we can get it tested.
Holy shit. We haven't watched this in about the last 4 weeks.
I know. You sure this is a good idea, doing this 4 to 5 week business?
Shit. We haven't got off to a flyer, I'll tell you that much.
No, we haven't. We've dived headfirst into a fucking combine harvester.
You know what? I would have rather been in a combine harvester than watching this.
Cool.
Yeah, they said, listen, you have to sit through cut, the 98-minute cut or whatever it is,
yeah.
or you can dive headfirst into a combine harvester.
I wonder what they cut out.
I don't know.
We better check it out. We better find out.
Well, it indicates that there's a 98-minute cut on Internet Movie Database, but that might be wrong.
Yeah.
It might be wrong. Yeah, it's never 100%
No.
right, that stuff. Now, the problem with Scarman is he is not in the pantheon of movie killers. You know, he's not up there with your Jasons and your Michaels and your Freddys. I mean, fuck, he'd be lucky to get in with Madman Mars the way he was going.
That's not an exclusive club.
but
imagine being in a club Madman. You jump in the spa. Madman's wandering around, checking you out while you're in the spa playing Marco Polo with somebody else.
The other problem with Scarman was he starts fucking cracking wires like Freddy Krueger at the end.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not really sure what that was. He's been silent for the whole film.
Well, this is the problem. There's a few problems. He starts.
I know, it said, now you die.
Yeah, starts cracking the now you die line really bad. And I know it comes from the parody part at the start, but you can still make that that line play a little better, right? Yeah. Even if it's a parody, you can come up with something that plays pretty well. And then there was a couple of lines, the lines at the end were just shocking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what...
Oh, it's movie magic and all this sort of shit he kept rambling on about.
I wish he'd stayed quiet. It would have been more interesting if he had to stay quiet while he was doing all that.
Yeah, I wish he had stayed quiet too. He was fucking painful at the end.
Yeah.
It was almost like they were trying to cross genres. Not cross genres, but cross meld Jason with Freddy. You know?
Yeah.
It was kind of like and it was terrible. And on top of all that, his weapon is a nightmare. Who came up with that? It is a shocker. It's like a half-breed between a pair of garden shears, Cropsey style, and those secateurs that you cut bloody flowers off trees.
Well, it's just like, deadheading a couple of roses or something like that, knocking someone's head off, isn't it? And
it just looks so unwieldy. Like, there's nothing about it that... How's he cutting heads off with it?
I mean, it looks like a big effort to stand out.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work.
Mate,
they're not going to be accused of being the only slasher that ever tried to do that. All of them tried to do that in some way, but when it doesn't work, it really...
But the other problem with it too was that just give him the basics. If you were going to go with... If your decision is that he's going to make him supernatural, then go with the basics.
Give him a wand.
A razor sharp wand. You have committed to supernatural killers.
Yeah.
Just give him an axe.
Yeah.
Or a machete.
Yeah.
It's simple.
It doesn't really matter.
Because your twist is he's supernatural and he fucking needs to be killed by burning up his copy of his film.
But I mean, see, you think about the memorable ones, and other than Freddy, it's not the weapon. Like, Michael and Jason just have a knife and a machete.
Yeah, it's their masks, in fact.
Yeah, it's the masks and the look in general that does the job. Like, I can't think... Obviously, Freddy was a little bit different. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I mean, that was just... Leatherface just happened to have a chainsaw. It's not like it was a chainsaw that was, as you said, moulded with a fucking pair of secondaires or something like that. I don't know. It just didn't.
Yeah, Leatherface didn't have the hybrid chainsaw mixed with bloody
chainsaw / whippersnipper combo or something like that.
There is not a well-crafted scene amongst it.
No,
nothing stands out.
I think that might be the biggest downfall, is that the kill scenes, although there's a couple of flashes, like we said, the beheading, and there's a couple of bits and pieces that worked out all right, but the scenes in general were just bland. Like there was nothing, there was no creepiness about Scarman. There wasn't even really a menace about him. Like
yeah, I mean,
he was just there.
There was no excitement. There was no real effort in trying to make him in some way scary, or throw in a scene or two which you could have got a little bit of scares out of. I mean, Jared, I did a bloody KFC laced fart in here 20 minutes before we kicked off, and it was fucking scarier than anything in that movie.
It was. I can attest to that.
I mean, you can attest. It was like having a fucking bag of shit wrapped around your head.
I can tell you, I smelled all 11 of the secret herbs and spices. I smelled every one of them. I think I could probably identify the recipe now.
Yeah, you've worked out what the fucking secret herbs and spices were because I cut one in front of you.
Yeah.
Look, side note, KFC. That's never happening again.
Until next week.
It makes me feel ill every single time. Within 5 minutes of hoovering down a piece of chicken, I felt like I needed to take a crap.
I know that. You don't need to tell me. There was certainly something.
Yeah, I did. I decided to crap in your face.
I tell you, mate, your shorts were Southern Pride after that.
Oh, okay. Let's get off that. Let's not be gross. Kylie Minogue, she might be Australia's sweetheart, but Jesus Christ, her performance is woeful.
Yeah, she's
woeful.
not good.
And she's never been the world's greatest actress.
No.
But this is a low even for her, and you can practically see her fucking moonwalking out of shot with a large check in hand as she's leaving the scene.
There's a resume. Charlene in Neighbours.
It's not a good resume.
I was in Cut.
Street Fighter.
I was bested by Van Damme for a while.
Yeah, I deflected Van Damme's advances on Street Fighter.
Well, according to him, she didn't deflect. Fell for the charms. The Belgium charm.
Oh, look. Yeah, I don't believe that. But, yeah, her acting resume is not great. No. But, I mean, even for her, I think agents were getting fired after saying this. She went, oh, look, we've had a good run together, but it ends here.
And she's in the scene where one of the worst lines in the movie comes out. It's hard to scream without a tongue. And the delivery of the line is...
It's meant to be scary or kind of in that scream mould, I want to see what your inside
Well, that's like. Where the scream sort of, that's when you can lay a line like that on, play it straight, try to make it scary, but the line just falls flat on its face.
Yeah. Molly Ringwald, the guy playing Molly Ringwald's American agent...
Man.
He's fucking butchering the English language, let alone the American accent.
That is up there with one of the worst American accents I've heard in a film. It's awful.
I mean, I mentioned last episode in the Rogue one where Robert, I can't remember his surname, Australian actor who's been around for ages, done plenty of stuff, who I like as an actor. His American accent was shitful as well. This is 10 times worse.
It's shocking.
It's just, I mean, fuck. Just hire an actor who used to be American who's naturalised Australian.
There are Americans that live in Australia.
Oh God.
And some of them are actors.
Yeah, do your fucking due diligence when you're casting. Jeez. Now,
That bloke walked into the audition and spouted that.
I'd be
That's
like, what are you doing?
thanks.
Are you doing dinner theatre, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you at Dracula.
He wouldn't get a start at Dracula's. Fuck. It'd probably be a half decent American accent in there.
No, he would not get a start at Dracula's unless it was serving meals.
Yeah, he might be on the dishes.
Now, when did a group of film students who seem to have limited to no film credentials? There's a one throwaway line where Dennis Denudo says he loved her short.
Yeah.
When do they become the next big thing in Australia or across the world in film that gets this woman who hasn't wanted to go near this film for 20 years to come back over? Like, where does that happen? Where does that ever happen in reality?
No, I think they should have played up the check angle.
I would have just played up.
Writing a check, and it's gonna that'll.
I would have just played up that they weren't film students. They were a small group of filmmakers who'd made some low rent shit.
Yeah, something like that.
And stumbled across this film.
Yeah, I wasn't. I mean, it was.
It didn't matter,
It was a
but
bit
fuck.
silly, but there was a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of other silliness going on. So I think it got lost amongst that for me.
And honestly, though, after watching 30 seconds of Hot Blooded, you do not want to finish that picture.
No.
Like, you are
No.
looking at it and going, nah.
Nah.
I'll look at something else. I'll write my own story. It's
Yeah.
just, I know it's meant to be a joke. It's meant to be played as a joke.
Yeah.
The Hot Blooded footage is a joke.
Yeah.
But it's just, again, it falls flat. There's
Problem is when
nothing
it goes
there.
from hot blooded to cut, there's not a great deal of difference.
Equality. They do some dreamier tones with the colourings and stuff.
Yeah.
With Hot Blooded, but other than that, yeah, you're right. It feels very similar, and it doesn't differentiate it,
Yep.
and it's not funny.
No.
Like, it should have been like disastrously bad.
Yeah.
Boom mics falling into shot and all sorts of stupid shit like that.
Yeah, I think they try to play it up a little, but it just, as we were saying, like when you go into cut, it's just the same stuff. So you kind of like, it's not that funny now because it was. Yeah, I think they probably could have played it up even
You're
more.
trying to make a gag
Yeah.
about how Hot Blooded is a classic shitty slasher film.
Yeah.
But then when we come out of it into Cut is a shitty slasher
Same
film.
thing. Yeah.
So you're not really getting anyone. It's not self-referential. It's just.
I don't know what it is.
It's art imitating art.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, what is it with everybody and fucking dead people pranks? Who thinks that shit is funny?
No, it's not funny. It's not. This has the potential to scar you for life.
This is a psychological prank.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a look, do I smell oil and someone's dropped their guts in front of you? It's not like that. It's bloody.
Let's not forget that nobody knew that Molly Ringwald was going to walk out of the room. So when they're playing this prank, they're doing it with a person who's survived an attempted murder and seen another murder, essentially. Who's thinking that's a good idea?
Look, mate, that was Ogle all the way.
Yeah, it's definitely Ogle.
Ogle would have come up with that
Fucking
one.
Ogle again, coming up with that nonsense.
Now, why is the professor helping them? Because
I don't
he
know.
kicks off with well, stay away from that piece of shit.
Yeah,
he's kind of crazy Ralph.
I don't even know what he is. Mister. They calling him Mr. Lossman.
I thought he was Professor Lossman.
Well, he might be Professor Lossman. But
Mate, later on in the film, he doesn't show he's got any fucking sense.
No.
So he couldn't have been a professor.
Well, he starts off as Crazy Ralph. He's talking about the film and he says everything bar it's got a death curse.
Yeah.
Like he just carries on about the film and tells them, you stay away from it. That piece of shit doesn't deserve your attention and all this sort of stuff. And then, next thing you know, he's helping him. It's like...
And hasn't said a word about the issues.
Yeah, he doesn't. He just goes from that to, I'm on the set, just doing my business.
He
here.
also showcases how to sort of play a scene where you find a car that's had its tyres slashed. He sort of goes, "Oh my god, they've been slashed."
Yeah.
Yeah, we can tell, mate.
I thought he was about to say, "Oh shit, what sort of asshole would do that?"
Ogle.
Ogle would do that.
Definitely.
Obviously, you know, he's supposed to be a red herring of sorts, so we think, oh yeah, he was around at the start. He doesn't want the film to be finished, but it's kind of jarring going from blowing up in the school corridor about making the movie and how horror films are shit, to just kind of sitting around as one of the crew, here if you need me type. But yeah, I think,
and the other
my
problem
biggest
with all
issue
that
with him was his performance was just a disaster.
Shit. It was a disaster as well. There was some bloody. I mean, who cast this picture?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't rate him as an actor, but he also had some of the worst lines to deliver.
Yeah.
Like, he had to deliver some of the stuff about the killer being the killer, all the energies put into this film created him and all this sort of stuff. And it's like,
I also like that he doubles down on it. She goes, "So do you think he's not flesh and blood or something?" And he's like, "I think so." Well, yeah, you think so?
Yeah, so we're fucking dying on this island with you here, mate.
50-50, mate. We have 50-50 chance of getting out of there because you think he might be fucking
There's
Superman.
3 of them there. I'm nudging to the other one. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, we'll be right behind you, Professor Lossman. And then when he walks out the door, I shut the door and go to the other person, let's go this way, because he's lost his mind.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon. Now, getting back to Ogle, Raffi, who's the director, the young lass who's the director, she seems to have a thing for Ogle. I believe that's brought up. And then she falls for his charms when he breaks into her room while she's in the shower, turns the lights out like a fucking asshole would, and then appears on her bed, leaning back on her bed like, hello, and then bang, she sleeps with him.
Because she hasn't had a chance to get dressed yet. She's in a towel. Yeah, it works, of course. I mean, it's a charming move. Like, how could you not fall for those charms?
Yeah, guess what? I know I've got horny many times after I've had the shit scared out of me. There's nothing bloody horny about having a pile of poop in your pants, I can tell you now. Oh, damn it, I gotta go back in the shower now. Shit's running down my leg.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get a bloody psycho killer vibe off you at all, mate. Like,
Yeah, I know you're not psychotic. You're misunderstood. You're an artist.
You said normal and nice. Let's jump in the sack together. What do you reckon?
Now, there's a side plot involving the police.
Yes, there is.
Genuine comedy. This. 2 detectives are involved.
Who find Dennis Denudo.
They find Dennis Denudo fucking gutted.
We found a well-respected lawyer gutted in a projection booth. Name's Denudo.
And then they go and speak to the crew who are out at this house.
Yep.
Right?
As we said, the first thing we're saying is when they say, was there any suspicious people? Yeah, him. He was the suspicious one, Denudo.
And also talk to Lossman. Or as we've nicknamed him, Lost Mind. Look, you'll probably find him sitting in the corner of one of the rooms fucking talking to himself.
Yeah. While you're at it, go and have a chat to Ogle.
Look, Ogle. No, Ogle's just shits and giggles.
Yeah, I misunderstood.
he's misunderstood. He just shits and giggles. Yeah, but the detectives, Poirot and Marple, sit down with the fucking producer and director and then spit out this bloody line or this entire conversation about how, what do they say? They say, we've connected the death of the bloke.
Investigating the possibility. We know that, when previously when this film was made, there was murders, blah blah blah. We're investigating the possibility that these might be connected, but we're investigating as if they're separate incidents. And he just fucking continues on. As I said, it's a word salad for bloody 45 seconds where he's contradicting himself. I don't know. We'll rewound it and watch it again.
Sorry. So you've connected them or you haven't?
I don't know.
Where are we?
Sorry, mate. Where did we get to there? Are we treating them as the same killer or a different killer? I'm still confused.
Because he was trying to connect.
So what I'm saying is, just to clarify, we're treating the possibility that they may be connected as a separate incident. Okay? Thanks, mate.
But they were trying to connect the death of that bloke in the cinema.
Yes.
With the current murder of Dennis Tenuto.
In the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course they're connected. They're only 7 years apart.
And he was watching the film. We screened the film. It seems we should not be treating these as separate incidents. There might be a connection there.
Looking pretty close to connection.
But I'm still unsure.
Plus,
did you say you were treating him as separate, or what are we talking about here?
Tenuto was at both crime scenes.
Yes.
He was the corpse at one of them.
As I said, he's your prime suspect. I think he killed himself in the second.
Yeah, look, he gutted himself. He cut the first bloke's throat and he gutted himself 7 years later.
I think so.
Couldn't live with the grief.
That was, I don't know, I laughed a lot at that. We watched it twice and I laughed equally both times we watched that scene.
And during the word salad too, she says, do you know if anybody you would want this movie not finished? And I'm thinking, anybody who was involved in it didn't want it finished.
Any of the actors that were in it.
It's a pile of shit.
The funny thing, you mentioned Poirot. He's twisting the suspects' minds around. I think that this guy was twisting his own. He didn't know what was going on.
He outsmarted himself.
He did.
Oh, God. The sequence where is Lossman a professor or what?
We'll just call him Lossman.
Yeah, we'll just call him Lossman. Lossman gets a fire poker jammed into his throat. In one side and out the other. Yeah. Right?
Minor injury.
So I thought Lossman's fucked. He's gone. He's gone.
Just get the dead hole out.
And later on, about 10 minutes later, at the crescendo of the film, Lossman comes fucking stumbling out of the bushes, still with the fire poker jammed in his neck, proceeds to yank it out. And basically becomes the hero. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not how the carotid artery usually works. You're not supposed to just pull things out. And then right at the end, Lossman's strutting down the hallways of the hospital with just a small fucking Band-Aid on it.
Yeah. It's been 4 months though. I mean, a massive hole in your neck would probably heal up pretty quickly. I didn't get that at all.
I thought he was dead. To me, why was he still alive?
Oh, because we liked him so much.
Well, we're getting a great performance out of the guy, I guess. So.
Guess so. I don't know.
It was one of those things where, once again, to me, the only survivors are her and Molly Ringwald and Raffi.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
That's how you finish it off. Because
he was just imposing himself at the end there.
This fucking bozo comes wandering out, banging into everything with his bloody, his bloody neck jewellery.
Yeah, don't worry about me. It seemed like a bit of a Dewey kind of moment.
Stabbed, but then
just
still alive
out like he's, it was silly.
Now, my last dislike was there's a last second sting that brings the Scar Man back to life. I mean, the possibility of a sequel is the scariest thing this movie dishes up.
Mm. Yep.
It is.
The electricity's back again.
Oh, that's right.
That was the scariest thing. The prospect of more electricity.
Oh, my God. And look, you know what? It was actually kind of a coolish sting, the fact that it shows the close-up of her and she's smiling and watching the film and he's sitting behind her.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what had come previous to that was too much for me to bear.
We didn't want any more of Scarman. You overlooked Ogle's killing for me.
Oh,
So stupid.
is that where he's using the camera?
Yeah, everyone else is bolted out of the house, and here's him
Moving in tight.
still on the
Emptying close.
camera. And we get, 10 seconds or so of Scarman having a little wave at the camera and then jumps out and jumps back in. And
And then when he
Just
kills
sitting there
Ogle,
going,
the
"What?"
camera seems to have disappeared.
did it?
Yeah.
I thought it was still there, but regardless, I was just like, seriously? Like, what are we doing? Did Ogle think it was another one of their silly pranks?
Maybe.
Probably.
Typical.
Typical Ogle.
Idiot.
And the other one was, I don't think we really gave enough of a kicking to Scarman and the reason he's there, and
It was not good.
like especially after he's dead and then Lossman gets to deliver again. He only existed within the context of the film. When that was destroyed, so was he. And he's delivering it straight, like just like what?
And they try and do a little bit of a laugh where she says all the energy and effort put into the film, and that's what has built Scarman. And
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald just pops out with, there is absolutely zero effort put into this piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that was okay, but that's how you needed to play the whole thing. It
But
was a laugh.
funnily enough, that actually came across as one of the kind of meta, self-referential gags.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
About this movie, like.
But the problem is, once again, you did not need a supernatural killer.
No.
I don't understand the thinking behind doing that when you had a cavalcade of characters. I won't call them interesting, but I'll say that they had secrets in their background which would have given us enough of a footing to say, well, there's a potential that 2 or 3 people here who could be the killer.
Yeah.
But they just fucking fritter that away. And the problem is, they show us immediately that there's something different about him when he's stabbed in the throat at the start. And all the electricity comes out. He looks like fucking the Emperor in Star Wars. He's getting roasted. But they undercut the entire film by saying that, because unless you're a moron, you're seeing that sequence and you're going, hang on, that's not really normal, is it?
Why was that there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from then on, you're assuming something's going on.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's a flesh and blood killer.
No.
So they really fucked up there.
I thought so.
I mean, even if you'd have changed it, it wouldn't have turned it into a great piece of cinema.
No.
But it
I
would have
don't
been a
think
hell of a lot better than this, like what it was.
Yeah.
Because all of that stuff was the stuff that everyone was giggling at when the film was finishing.
Yeah, well.
So you get to your crescendo, you build up to a crescendo, and then here we are with Scarman rambling on about how he's born out of the film and the efforts of the film. It's like, holy shit.
I mean, I saw this when I was 18. I would have been 18 or 19.
I mean, this one should have been right in your wheelhouse.
Well, it should have been, but even then, I was like, oh my God. And that was when I was eating things like I Still Know What You Did like last summer
for breakfast.
I loved every minute of that sort of stuff, but this one stood out as like, eesh, that's not worth going back to.
That's a bad decision.
Until near 20 years later, we decided to go back to it. Thank you again, Amazon Prime.
It needed to be revisited.
Yeah.
Subsequently, I don't think I'll be seeing it
Lock
again.
it in the vault for another 20 years.
Yeah. And also, there was a bit of a problem with the actual copy.
Yeah, I don't know.
On Amazon Prime, it was fucking jumping around all over the place. It was really. It looked like it was going like 1.5.
I think that might have been more our setup.
Oh, right, okay.
Possibly.
Because it didn't look good. It didn't add to the experience.
No.
It made it worse.
But it wouldn't have been that good anyway.
Yeah, true.
I think.
You can't clean up a shit.
No.
Okay, anything else?
No. I prefer not to talk.
All right, that's cut. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify and Podomatic. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia and Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at ThrillMePodcastAU. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for details of the next film we'll cover. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.